I know what you're thinking. Seeing the title of this video, what can he possibly mean? The things that I've been called on social media for simply having a theory. You see, I'm a pescatarian, and I often tell people that I don't eat meat. That's not the part that grabs people's attention. The part that grabs their attention is when I say I don't eat animals. And the first thing someone says, you eat shrimp. You eat fish. Yes, I do. Because fish are not animals. They're simply fish. Let's get into it. First things first, and I want you to use your everyday way of speaking and way of thought. You go to the zoo to see animals, and you go to the aquarium to see fish. Like, really, again, I want us to use our everyday way of thinking here. When is the last time you said out of your own mouth, or you heard someone say with your own ears, I'm about to go to the aquarium to see the animals? Or, I'm about to go to the zoo to see the fish. That's not something that we speak in everyday terms, or in everyday context rather. And to caveat on that analogy, I want to bring another one into play. If you walk towards a group of animals, and I'm saying animals, but if you walk towards a group of animals which consist of a lion, a tiger, and a bear, you will tell yourself that you're approaching a group of animals. On the other side, when it comes to my fishy friends, if there were a pond with catfish, swordfish, goldfish, salmon, tuna, you would say you are approaching a pond full of fish. You would not say you're approaching a pond full of animals, or any type of words to variate to an animal, referring to the fish. Moving on with my you probably already laughing at me, but with my like out of this world analogies or theories or sayings. But if I tell you, hey friend, I'm about to go hunting, what comes to mind? What really comes to your mind? I know you're not about to say you think I'm about to go fishing, because if I use the term hunting, you think I'm about to go out in the woods and hunt animals that walk the land but are actually animals. And if I tell you that I'm going fishing, would you ever assume that I'm going in the forest looking for deer? Like, no, you would assume that I'm going to look for fish in the waters, because that's fishing. Because fishing are fish and they're not animals. Because if I were going to look for animals, I would be going to hunt for animals. Yeah, I know I probably stuck to that one a little bit too long, but hopefully I have you on some type of track of where my mind is. Not saying that I'm right, but just continue to listen to my theory. And before we go any further with this, I want to double back to what I said about the zoo, because it's going to be people who have already been people that's clapped back and said there are fish at the zoo. But I want you to really think about that, because when you're at the zoo, at the part where the animals are, where do you have to go in order to see the fish? Exactly. You have to go to the aquarium. You have to leave the zoo and go to the aquarium to see the fish, because the fish are not in the zoo with the animals. They're in a separate location, which is the aquarium for fish. I know y'all probably hate me right now and think I got the best of the best supply, but somebody's sticking with me. But whether you are or you're not, let's continue. Let's dive into the definitions of both an animal and of a fish. Now, yes, the word animal most likely will pop up into the category of fish. Like, I know this. Like, I don't want to use words that I shouldn't be using on YouTube. But you know, I'm intelligent. I'm intelligent enough to put together a whole video presentation on a theory that I have come up with. But at the end of the day, it's just a theory. Yes, I am a pescatarian. Yes, this is my way of life. Yes, this is my way of thinking. And by no means am I trying to push my lifestyle or, you know, anything of that nature upon anyone. I'm just simply sharing my chain of thought, my way of life, my way of thinking, because when I talk out loud or when I type on the internet, you know, it's just reactions of, you know, something must be wrong with this guy. But no, it's not that. It's just, you know, I just thought outside the box a little. But back to the definition. Animal. Source. Dictionary.cambridge.org. A living thing that can move and eat and react to the world through its senses, especially of sight and of hearing. So reading that definition, the first thing I thought was, yo, that sounds like a human. If this is the definition of an animal, then a human must be an animal. But no. Further down on the page, it says, in ordinary use, animal means all living beings, except humans. That's kind of contradicting to me. But I mean, I guess because it's in text and because it's on the internet, it automatically makes it fact. But that sounds a little contradicting to me. How could the definition perfectly describe something, but a human is exempt from the definition? But let's just jump on over to the definition of a fish really quick, because I know a lot of you are waiting on this. You're waiting for me to read that animal word and say, hi, what are you talking about? But here it is. Same source. I made sure I went to the same source. So dictionary.cambridge.org. Fish or fishes. An animal that lives in water, is covered with scales, and breathes by taking water in through its mouth, or the flesh of these animals eaten as food. So there it is. Yes, that word animal is in the definition of fish, or fishes, plural. However, that doesn't sound like the definition of an animal at which we just read. That is a completely different description from an animal, which perfectly was the definition of also a human. A fish did not fit either of these categories, but yet it's still bookly, like if that's even a word, but by the book, it's still an animal. Now, to a person like me, we got to dig a little deeper into this, because this is very contradicting. It's a lot of additions to a fish than what an animal is. I mean, am I wrong? Do fish have anything in common with any other animals? I mean, wolves have things in common with bears. Lions have things in common with zebras. But you can choose any breed of fish and any of those animals that I just named, and they don't have much in common. But yet, they're all animals. Anatomy. Come on, let's do it. Let's get into the anatomy. I'm gonna get into some script right here. All right, so here we go. While animals and humans share many similarities in the terms of anatomy, fish are quite different. One of the key ways in which animals and humans are similar is their skeletal structure. Both animals and humans have a backbone or spinal column made up of individual bones called vertebrae. These vertebrae protect the spinal cord, which is responsible for transmitting signals between the brain and the rest of the body. Additionally, animals and humans both have a rib cage that surrounds and protects the internal organs, as well as a skull that houses and protects the brain. Another similarity between animals and humans is in their muscular structure. Both animals and humans have muscles that are responsible for movement and locomotion. These muscles are attached to the bones by tendons, and when they contract and relax, they cause the bones to move. Additionally, animals and humans both have smooth muscles and cardiac muscles that control functions such as digestion and heartbeat. Despite these similarities, fish are significantly different from animals and humans. One of the key ways in which fish differ from animals and humans is in their skeletal structure. Fish have a flexible backbone made of cartilage rather than a rigid vertebrae found in animals and humans. Fish also have a unique skeletal structure that allows them to swim through water efficiently, such as the presence of fins and tail fin. Fish also differ from animals and humans in their respiratory system. Fish have gills, which extract oxygen from water, while animals and humans have lungs, which extract oxygen from air. Fish can also tolerate water pressure well because of their specialized circulatory system. In summary, while animals and humans share many similarities in terms of anatomy, such as skeletal and muscular structure, fish are quite different due to their skeletal structure made of cartilage, specialized fins and tail fin, gills, and specifically circulatory system, which enable them to adapt to aquatic environment and survive in it. So further on more with my theory as to why animals are not fish and fish are not animals, and I bring humans into it because I try to bring up the point that humans by definition are animals, but for some reason we're an exemption from what the definition of an animal is. But a fish still, even when it gets down to the anatomy, is nothing as of what an animal is. But yet we still sit here and say it's an animal, it's an animal, it's an animal. Yeah, but in my theory it's not, because I'm grown now. I don't have to listen to what's in the textbooks anymore. I don't have to take a test for somebody to tell me if I'm right or wrong or not. I can theorize. I can live how I want to live. And it just does not add up. It just doesn't add up. They're totally different things. Animals cannot all of a sudden just become aquatic beings or aquatic living things. Like, no, they're animals. They walk on land. And the same thing vice versa. A fish can't become an animal. A fish can never walk on land. So how can it be considered an animal if it can't do what an animal does? This just gets more complicated as it goes along. And a little more script before I close out this video. It is crucial to understand that humans, despite some exceptional capabilities, are animals at the core. The same way that fish are adapted to living in water, Humans are land animals. Our classification as animals is evident in our anatomy and physiology, which shares many similarities with other terrestrial creatures. We possess the same basic needs, the same basic internal functions, and have a similar structure in terms of bones, muscles, and organs. Therefore, it is justifiable to say that humans are animals rather than fish, as they have evolutionary adaptations that are better suited to living on land and not in water. So yeah, to close this video out, and please, because I have lots more information to support my theory on why fish are not animals. So if y'all want to hear more about this, more about how my mind works, just, like the video and leave a comment so I know, and I'll do it. But like, all of these differences, the way that they live, the way that they breathe, the way that they communicate, like everything is different from animals. And again, the definition of animals goes back to humans, and everything is different from humans. But that's all I got for you at the social media hustle for this episode, yo. Fish and animals, they're different. Please subscribe to my